Please welcome.
Welcome back. TheRealEstateExperts.com online. Check out the blog. Check out the search site. We've got lots of great tools there. In fact, I generally try to use our website more than the multiple listing service or even Zillow now because of course, I designed it. So I think it functions more like we think in terms of real estate. So buying or selling, reach us there, or don't reach us at all. Just use it for free. TheRealEstateExperts.com. Okay, so let's talk about the market. Let's talk about Atlanta housing now, and let's talk about what's happening in the market. Over $400,000. Let me just use real professional, colorful terms here to describe the market. In my opinion, in Metro Atlanta, over about $400,000 or $500,000. It sucks. Let's just get that out there on the table. It sucks. It's difficult now. Now, sucks is kind of, you got to give some perspective to that. Is it 2009, 2010, 2011? No way. But let me tell you what's going to happen over the next 12 months. Over the next 12 months, you're going to see, first of all, people right now are delusional. And let me explain this. We talked about this last segment. If you missed the segment, let me give you the Reader's Digest to set this up properly. We have gone from being a country of refugees, asylum seekers, to an industrious-minded, logical country, to an industrial manufacturing revolution, to a technical revolution in the 90s, then to a conversion here in the last decade or so, a tipping point to an emotional society, meaning that there are fewer and fewer people. It's getting lonelier and lonelier. If you can deal with problems and hear what's wrong with something that you may believe, meaning that logical people are losing out. It's the emotional basket cases that actually seem to make it, that actually seem to be in favor in our society now. Those people that really have no logic behind their thoughts, it's just all emotion, and it can stir people up and create a crowd and create attention for someone that in some cases might otherwise be a loser. And thus logical people are left looking like the radicals of our society. And perhaps by definition, we are more radical now because we're not in the in crowd. We're not in the majority, meaning that in my career of housing or even in media, I can tell someone what they need to hear that will serve them the best, make them the most money, and create the fewest short and long-term hassles. There may be some immediate pain with that advice, but there will be midterm and long-term benefit. Versus the typical American now wants immediate benefit with midterm and long-term detriment. They don't want long-term and midterm detriment, but they're so myopic, so short-sighted, they can only address how they feel right now, and they have no capacity to have that challenged. That's a real problem. That is a huge problem for us going forward, which means that logical people have to be sort of chameleons now. We have to be able to deal with the emotional people in an emotional way and determine when we're dealing, like I do with my radio listeners. It's easy because you call and say, I heard you on the radio. I've been listening to you. I automatically know you're not listening to me unless you're a logical person for any length of time, because I'm going to make you angry if you're an emotional snowflake. Right? Emotional snowflakes, people like me or Trump. I've got a book on Amazon.com, The Trump in You. Suggest you read it. We make people very uncomfortable because we're always dealing with the elephant in the room right now. Right? That's the way America was built. That's why we're successful. That's why we're the world's power. But we're running on steam now. We're running on momentum. So now that I brought everybody up to speed, I didn't want to leave anybody behind. Let me go back to what I started to say. The majority of the real estate market, because I've talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of people in the last 4 or 5 months who've called us off of some of our marketing. And when I say this, I mean mostly not radio listeners. They may not even know I have a radio show. And I've had conversations with them, and there's a theme that's developing. At first, it was incompetent, lazy, stupid agents couldn't sell their home because they didn't know how to press enter on a keyboard and do anything correctly. So they screwed up the marketing. The home didn't sell, and now they're thinking about hiring another agent, but they're ticked off like most expired, withdrawn home sellers are. Then I started noticing in the last 60 to 90 days, the conversations I was having with people are with agents who do a pretty good job, not a great job, but a pretty good job of marketing. Good photos, basics are done correctly. Generally speaking, in a good average market, the homes sell. The problem is that these agents are the people I'm just talking about. They may generally be nice people. They may generally be Christians. They may be a fine person to have a beer with and talk about sports. But when it comes to business and dealing with the brass tacks of a problem or a challenge or an obstacle, they can't handle it. They can only deal when the market's going up, and when the market's going sideways or down, it collapses, right? So I've noticed that that's the crowd I'm now talking to. People who had a pretty good agent, who generally got the job done, who now can't get the job done. What does that tell me about the market? Well, when I opened up the show, I said the market sucks over $400,000 or $500,000 in Metro Atlanta. Several reasons for that. We've covered them. It's on the blog at therealestateexperts.com. Let's keep moving. So what does this mean? The emotional side of our society, which means the vast majority of people now, especially as it relates to their home, look at the market and say, well, I had a bad agent. My agent's stupid. They suck. And maybe they have been listening to me on the radio because I won't disagree with them in some cases. But the reality is they have a pretty good agent, just not good enough for this market. And they didn't get the job done, mainly because the agent didn't do anything necessarily wrong with marketing. They could have done far more and created more traffic. What they didn't do is deal with their seller's psychology, because they just told them the whole time what they wanted to hear. And so the listing expires. It's all the agent's fault. Maybe it is. It probably is. They didn't advise them properly. Maybe they couldn't have handled it. So now they look at the market and go, well, it's the holidays. Ain't worth listing it right now. I'll just wait till the first year, maybe in the spring when everybody's buying, right? Well, I just sold 3 houses last week, listings, 2 of which had been on the market for months this year with another agent, and I've had both of them for less than 2.5 months. So I just totally reject the idea that this time of the year is not a good time to sell a home. That's something said by lazy loser agents who don't want to work for 2 months. I don't mind working. I don't know what else I'm going to do this time of year. There's a lot less work to do, so it means I still get some time off, and I get to sell houses while everybody else is stuffing their face with eggnog, right? I'll take a week off for Christmas. So I reject that idea. That's this total BS emotional crap. Oh, well, it's a bad time of year to list a house. Oh, bull crap. All right, so anyway, so you got all that going on. Statistically, it's just as good a time of year now as it is in freaking April, because more homes are coming on the market in April, and you only have a percentage. You have double the homes coming on the market. You have 50% more buyers. Do the math. You're better off now than then. So you have all these people, I was going to take it off the market and sell it next spring when the thing gets on fire again. Well, guess what? I'm a data person, data science. I have been talking about this for months on this show, and I've been feeling it and seeing it, and I kept trying to prove myself wrong. Well, you know what? I can't do it. I can't prove myself wrong. We're in for it in the housing business. It's not going to be good. It may not be bad like we in context of 2009, but it's not going to be great. It's not going to be good. So what's going to happen in the next 12 months? Well, the vast majority of people who are emotional and illogical and who make all their decisions based on how they feel because of some YouTube video that confirms what they already in their brilliance know, even though they don't know crap, okay? They're going to put their home back on the market in March or April, far too late, because they don't listen to people who are trying to explain. They just view everybody as a salesperson with no value whatsoever, which is a great way to live life. And they don't try to parse out, because they don't have critical thinking skills, who might be telling the truth and trying to present good data and who might just be blowing smoke, right? So they make their own decision because they're their own open heart surgeon on their own heart. You'll die doing that, but nonetheless, follow me with the analogy. They're going to put their homes on the market in March or April, expecting the market to catch on fire again and prices to go back up, and for them to get their sky high, too much value, overpriced, repaired, under-maintained home sold, right? It's not going to happen. We're going to get to June, July. We're going to hit the July brick wall again in the housing business. The July brick wall is something like this. June's always great, and July 4th week, the market dies. Every year, with one exception in 20 some odd years of housing, the market just dies. And I think it was 2005 when the market didn't die because it was on fire everywhere. The market's going to die, and then they're going to sit there for a month or two, and prices are going to start falling because you've got all of these people who need to sell a house that's vacant, or they have 2 homes because they made a decision to buy 2 homes, or whatever other things are going to go on, and you're going to have people start cutting them loose. Yeah. Foreclosure. And it happens pretty fast in Georgia, and those are going to be priced to sell. And they're going to be cheaper than the cheaper homes that sold cheaper than the high homes did. Don't try to follow that. Just understand it means a lot less than what everybody wants. And when those start selling, prices are going to stair step down. You know what a stair step does? It's flat. This is where the market kind of is statistically right now. And then it's a big, kind of like a short valley drop, and stair step, valley, drop, stair step, drop. How many steps down we go? I don't know. If I knew that, I'd be a billionaire. What I know is that the stair step process is coming. And then you're going to have an instant loss in the market. And then people are going to wake up and go, oh, my emotional internal diatribes in my head somehow have proven not to be true. Oh, it must be Trump. It's his fault. After all, the Trump economy is not doing what he said he was going to do. He's not winning across. It's going to be, they're going to conflate it and blame it on something, somebody, something. It can't possibly be that they weren't willing to watch and listen to the cues again. And now we're going to have a spike in foreclosures. In fact, I think we're already seeing that, but not statistically that noticeable. And then prices fall. How much? I don't know, 10 to 20%. It's got to come down. If rates go up faster, which they could, if we end up with 7 or 8% rates, we could see a 20% drop in housing prices. Now, a lot of people look at this and go, well, this is terrible. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, I'm listening to the show and hearing this garbage. I mean, I just don't want to hear all this. Well, then you're turning off the radio because you're one of the emotional people I've been talking about who can't handle it. You just can't handle it. And I just don't want to hear that my housing price. I don't want to move. Well, don't move. Stay there 10 years. What are we going to do with our houses? We're going to keep them. What if we need to go do something else? What if I decide to go on that round the world 2-year sailboat trip? I'll rent the damn things. I don't care. But what can you do with all this information to make it incredibly positive? That's next.